J. Cole came out at 50 Cent's concert a couple weeks ago or a week ago or something. And then you and I were talking offline about like, damn, like that song is fire. And then I came up with like, yeah, does he have a lot of these songs though? Because like I don't remember moments where I'm like singing along to a lot of like J. Cole songs, right? And again, this might get blasphemy at some point, so we'll make sure we're very clear about our takes here. So the topic is, does J. Cole have enough bangers for GOAT status, right? So I think we both agree he's in that conversation, right? Like, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Like the J. Cole, the Drakes, the Kendrick, like he's in that conversation. There's no question to that. But I was wondering, does he have enough bangers that you would make you say, oh, wow, like, I'm surprised? Because, and I also want to make a clear thing. I think there's a difference between bangers, where you're like, play that shit again, and hits, right? Because I'm on currently, before this conversation, I'm of the stance that I do think J. Cole has a lot of hits, but not a lot of bangers. And for me, a banger is replayable, high energy, concert level songs, right? So your thoughts of like J. Cole's status and like the bangers or hits that come to your mind.
I mean, I think J. Cole's definitely deserving of a GOAT conversation. And I think no one can argue whether or not he has hits just looking at his catalog again. But in terms of like, you know, concert or arena bangers that like just gets people out of their seat, I'm having a tough time thinking of a whole lot. I mean, I think
right? That's
No Role Models is the obvious one. I mean, I've heard that song in so many different environments and everyone knows the words. Obviously the formula is perfect because it's a simple, you know, melody that everyone can get behind it.
And the sing. Beat production though, you just hear that beat and you're just like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like they'll delay it because you're like, oh, like the crowd is, dude, the crowd's going crazy.
But outside of that, I mean, Wet Dreams and Workout are close, but I don't know if they have the same power as, you know, No Role Models or In the Club or God's Plan and all these other ones, right? Like,
I don't exactly. Think about like, so really for the same, like for me is like, I think about before we get to bang, like his biggest hits, right? Obviously No Role Models, we both agree is a banger, right? But then Workout, I don't consider that a banger, right? I think it's a J. Cole hit, but not a banger. His other one of his bigger songs is Power Trip with Miguel, but it's a great song, right? But and I do replay that one, but I'm never like at the club like, dude, I cannot wait till I hear fucking Power Trip tonight. You know what I mean? The Neighbors think I'm like Neighbors, right? Great
that
song.
One's definitely not close to the banger.
That's what I'm
it's dope,
saying.
But yeah,
it's dope, bro. This guy is nothing but dope, right? That's why I want to make sure like there's a clear like. I'm not saying he shouldn't be GOAT conversation, but it's odd. Like normally when people are in that thing, the banger conversation's like a no. We can list like 5, and I don't think for him that's the case, which may just prove to like why he's just a great artist. That like you don't need to have bangers, but initial run through, you're like, well, damn, this guy doesn't really have like that much here.
I'd say Can't Get Enough with Trey Songz. Now that I think about it, is close contender. I think that one's something that would definitely get people out of their seats. Nobody's Perfect with Missy Elliott. But yeah, to your point, like these at the same time, these aren't ones that I think, you know, are at the top of the request list by most people. Whereas with Kendrick, for instance,
go ahead, sir.
No, I was just gonna say with Kendrick, for instance, who's I think more similar to Cole's audience as opposed to Drake, has a ton like Swimming Pools. What is it? Good Kid, Mad City, or is it? What's the name of that one? Is it Good Kid, Mad City? No, or just Mad City?
Mad City Freestyle, something like that, or
yeah, Mad City. That's what it is. And yeah, a ton others. So I don't think you have to sacrifice a conscious message to make a hit. But to your point, it's interesting that Cole doesn't seem to have as many mainstream, we'll say, you know, club bangers as his peers.
Yeah, and so before we dive into like, why do you think that is, though, bro? Is it just because he's so well liked? Is it because like we love when we go through one of his albums, even if they're not super replayable, we appreciate like what he's trying to do. And we also can acknowledge the skill level. Like, cause I'm saying like you would think like he wouldn't get this pass. And like, again, he clearly has, and I agree with it. It was just, surprising to me. So I wonder, like, what are your thoughts on why he does get, boosted up to that GOAT level, even though maybe he doesn't have what most GOATs have?
I don't know. I think his storytelling is appealing, but he still incorporates melody into his hooks that sounds good. And I think his production in general is really good as well. So even though he's more conscious, it's not quote unquote boring to a lot of people as some of the other artists that are conscious. So I think because he incorporates melody and solid production, it's easier to digest for people who may skew more mainstream. So I think he gets a pass in that sense. And then of course it helps that he kind of maintains some relevancy by hopping on.
I was gonna say, I think the features stuff, especially the last like 4 years of features that he's done for people, it's almost like, bro, I can do this if you want me to, but I choose not to, kind of a thing, right? So I think that also is like, all right, bro, like you're the man, like it's fine.
Right. Like he can, do features like wash that rapper, make it sound good, and he'll like get on it, but he won't water it down by being like annoyingly conscious or anything, right? Like he'll still
he'll talk about stuff. Yeah, he'll talk ignorant shit, and but it'll only be on a feature. Like I feel like it doesn't happen on his actual his content.
Right, and I think what it boils down to is he just has like a kind of cult-like fan base that is willing to support him, unlike some of these other guys. And I get it too, because I mean I still am, but I was particularly a massive fan of him in college because I was in college, and it was the first time I had seen a rapper who didn't come across as corny, that was like college educated and able to make music that sounded good, that you could actually bump. And I feel like that crowd just stuck with him.
Correct. And I think cult level following is a great phrase to use, but I also think it's cult level following that has reached the mainstream level, right? Because it's like, it's almost borderline, you just have a ton of fucking fans, right? And usually that kind of music doesn't garner the numbers that he gets. Like that's like the most like, dude, kudos to you, right? Because technically your music isn't that mass appealing, right? On paper, at least. But you still have mass appeal that other conscious rappers like say a Lupe or a Joyner aren't even fucking close to getting. You know what I mean? Right. So that's pretty impressive.